Today's lecture is going to be over 6.6, 6.7, and 6.8. Okay, 6.6, it starts out where you need to find tax. I guess we need the light off. Yeah. To find tax. If you have a sale of $6, your tax is 4%. What is your tax? The amount of your tax? 4% of $6, right? So you're going to do 4% of $6 is the tax. So put it into your is over of. Is the tax of 6 is 4%. Remember, percent goes over 100. Okay, that's your is over of. Okay, so 6 times 4, 24 divided by 100.
So you're still just doing the proportions?
Yeah. Except it's more of an application of real life stuff. Okay, what's the total cost? If you sell with $6, you have 24 cents tax. $6.24. Okay. Here we have the price and how much the tax is. Okay, the tax, $12.75, is what percent? We don't know the percent of our sale. Oh, instead of putting sale here, we'll put the amount, $4.25. So our of is 425, right? There's our is. Percent over 100. So 12.75 times 100, then divide it by 425. Is that 4.25?
That's 425.
It's 425, right? Okay. So 12.75 times 100 is 1275. Divide that by 425. Looks like 3, huh? 3 times 5, 15. 6 and 1 is 7. 3 times 4 is 12. It's exactly 3. So it's 3% is our tax rate. Okay, what is our total cost? Sale plus tax, right? So add $12.75 to the sale. 437.75.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's go up a little bit. 5.5% tax rate.
5.5.
Yeah, you could change it to 5.5. That would be the best. Change this to a decimal. If you don't know how to change the fraction part to a decimal, how do you divide it? 2 divided by 1, or? It's 1 divided by 2, or 2 into 1. Remember, the top goes under here.
Right.
Okay? So this would be 5.5%. So let me see, the tax is 5.5% of the sale, $12,229. Okay, let's move that up where we have a lot more room. Percent goes over 100. We don't know the tax. Of is 12,229. Multiply, divide by 100. So 1,229 times 5.5. Good thing is they're going to be the same. 5 times 9, 45, 10, 14, 10, 11, 10, 11, 5, 6. Now we'll put a 0, and it'll be the same numbers. Because it's 5 times the same numbers again. oops, sorry. 595,276. We only have this one decimal, huh? Right there. So the amount of the tax on $12,000. No, we haven't divided by 100 yet, have we?
No.
67,000 is a lot of tax, huh? Okay,
Yeah.
this number we've got to divide by 100. How can you do that easily? Divide by 100? How far do you move your decimal?
Okay, well, you can have a 6 over the 2.
2.
Do what?
Well, I'm doing it the other door, I'm doing.
I did that
division.
times that, now we're going to divide by 100.
2 spots.
Yeah, but 6 is definitely gonna fit over the 672, because 6 goes into, 6 times 100 is 600, and that's 672.
Yeah, we're going to move our decimal back 2 times. Right. 672, 595. Okay, but we need to round it to the nearest penny, okay?
Before we divide?
No, when you divided it, you got this.
If you divide it by 100, you move the decimal place 2 places to the left.
So you move the decimal, how many zeros you have? Move it 1, 2. So 672.595, so that rounds to 672.60. $600 is still a lot of tax, but you just bought a $12,000, hopefully it's a vehicle or something big, okay? So 672.60 is your tax, right? Okay, the total amount of your sale, the total cost, you have to add that to 12,229. 672.60, right? 11, 7, 8, 9, 10, 6, 7, 8, 9. So your total sale is 12,901.60. Okay? That's tax. Okay? The next section on 6.6 is commission. Okay? It's not something that's added to the cost, that's just what the salesman gets. Okay? If a salesman gets 8% and he sold you $280, he gets 8% of the sale, which is, we don't know, is over of equals 8 over 100. So do 8 times 280. $22.40 divided by 100, that moves your decimal back twice. So he gets $22.40 for selling you a $280 thing. Okay. If he sold you $3,000 and he ended up getting $600, that's pretty good commission, isn't it? Okay, let's say his commission is what percent of what he sold you. So is, right, over of percent over 100. So do that times that. 600 times 100, add 2 zeros, right? Divide it by 3,000. Okay, right there to be 2, huh?
Yeah.
0.0006. So it's 20%. That's a good commission, 20%. Even if you would have got $300 for selling you, 10% is a good commission. Okay? How about if he gets 3%? That's not very much. 3% of the sale is how much they're gonna make. 3% of the 6183.50 is his commission. Is the commission over the of equals 3/100. So 3 times that divided by 100. Do I have a quick calculator? Instead of doing it all by hand?
18,000.
18,000 something?
18,500.
Yeah.
I was off by 30.
I just went backwards. 15, 31. Okay. Then divide by 100 moves our decimal back twice, right? We just multiplied that. Now we're dividing by 100. So back twice would be 185.5050. He isn't going to get that, right? You round it to the penny, to the nearest cent. So looking at the 5, you put a 1 there. 51 cents, right? He sold $6,000 worth of something and all he got was $185. Hopefully it's easy to sell. Or he doesn't have very many bills to pay.
On these percents, it's always gonna be divided by 100, right?
It's divided by the part that you don't, it's just like any other proportion. When you set up the proportion, you multiply across, divide by the other one. It's not always dividing by 100. It's always multiply across and divide by the one that's across from the unknown.
All right, the moving the decimal point to the left.
Was dividing by 100.
Only when you're dividing by 100.
Dividing, you go to the left. When you divide by 10, 100, or 1,000. If you multiply by 100, you would move it that way 2 times. The number of zeros. Wasn't that one of your test questions one time?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. Or it was one of the questions on one of your homework, something about describing what to do when you multiply or divide by 100, or multiples of 100. Okay. Here's your original price. We're doing discounts now. That's good. That's not adding tax, right? You're getting money taken off of the price. A 10% discount. Okay? So if you have $199.99, figure $200, right? Okay, you want 10% is your discount. So 10% of the price is the discount. So your discount over the of 10 is your percent. What are we going to multiply, Anthony?
Huh?
Which ones are we going to multiply?
10 and 199.
Yeah. When you multiply by 10, how do you do the decimal?
Move it one place, one left.
Is that right, Anthony?
Yeah, that's
To
correct.
the left?
No, multiplies is right.
Correct.
Okay. 1999.9 in. Multiplying that, we got that number. Now dividing by 100. How many times do we move it?
2 to the left.
To the left. 1, 2. So 19.999. Don't we need that to the nearest penny? So we're going to, because of this, we will add 1. When you add a penny to 19.99, you get $20, don't
Right.
you? Okay, so we have a $20 discount. So what's the sale price? Subtract 20. Right. 179.99. Figure 180, right? Okay. This one, the discount. It told you the discount. You need the percent. So we say 54 is what percent of the price? 54 is our is. There's our of. Don't know the percent. What do we multiply, Anthony?
1,500 times 54,
which is
1,554.
5,400. Then divide by 180. Not gonna ask you what that is. But what is it? 4? 3? 0, 24, yeah. So put a 3 right here, right? 0. So it's 30. We gotta add that 0. 30% is our discount. What is our sale price? Let me cover some of this stuff up. What's the sale price? $54 taken off of 180 minus 54. So you didn't have to find that before you found that. We just did it in order. 10 minus 4 is 6. So 126. Went from 180 to 126. 30% discount. Okay, that was mostly what you're going to do on 6.6. 6.7, simple interest. Okay? Simple.
Are you saying that it's gonna be simple?
It's simpler than compound. Simple is interest, the I is interest. P is principal. Do you know what principal is?
It's valid.
The dollar amount. Yeah. R is rate. You know how we had rate of discount and stuff? This is your percent. But you need to write it as a decimal. Okay? You have to change this to a decimal. The rate. This T is, what do you think? Time. Time has to be in years. Okay? If it's not, you have to do something to it. Okay, so something simple right here. Principal 100, rate 6%. So we want to find interest. We don't know the interest, right? Principal, you just write it. What do we do with the rate? Decimal. Okay, 6%. How do you change it to a decimal? 2 times, always 2. 0.06. So far we have that part. The time in years is just 1. So just multiply it by 1. If it's 2 years, you just multiply it by 2, okay? That's how simple. So you just do that times that times that. 100 times 0.06 moves it 2 times, which is 6. 6 times 1, our interest is just 6. Just multiply these 3 numbers and they'll give it to you. Okay? The next one. Okay. What if you have some fractions there? Still interest equals the principal. Okay, the rate we need is a decimal. This is 8.5, but we need to change it from 8.5% to a decimal. We still have to move it back. We still have to go back 2 times from here. 1, 2. So we have 0.085. Okay, this is 2.5 in years, so it's, we might as well put 0.5 so we can put it into a calculator. And you will be allowed to use a calculator on this, okay? Too much multiplying. Okay, so multiply these 3 numbers and that'll give it to you right there. I don't have it in front of me. Okay. Now what if it isn't in years? What if it's like in months? What you have to do, still have the principal. What is this as a decimal? .05, 0.05. Okay, you're gonna do, this is how many months? How many months are there in a year?
12.5.
Okay, there's 12 months in a year. So whatever it says in months, you divide it by 12. So this will be times 6 and then divide by 12. This one's a half a year, you could do 0.5, but number 12 that you have to do, it says 5. 5 doesn't divide evenly into, or 12 doesn't divide evenly into 5, however you want to say it. So just multiply 400 times 0.05 times 6 and then divide by 12. And if you want to practice and see if it comes out the same, multiply those 3, divide by 12, and then try doing this. Multiply that, and then remember we said that was a half, and it should come out to the exact same thing, okay? If it does turn into a decimal, you can use it that way, it's okay. So just multiply that, and that's your interest. So that's how simple that is. Okay, here's a, using some simple interest. If you have to find the total amount of a loan, using simple interest for this, we're going to do principal, rate is a decimal, 2 times is 0.06, right? 0.06. Months. So times 9 and then divide by 12.
Okay, wait.
Okay, let's go ahead and get that number. Somebody multiply that out and give us what the interest is here.
I'm confused.
With the percent part or the month part?
All right, how did you get 12
39.96.
4 times 7.
out of the 9 months?
Okay, if it's months, remember time has to be in years.
Okay.
When we first started it, we said that time had to be in years. So if it's 9 months, you say this is 9 months out of 12 months. It's 9 out of 12.
Oh, so I'm dividing 9 out of 12. I'm
You
dividing
times 9, then you divide it by 12.
A whole number.
Wait,
At the end
I'm
of the,
dividing, okay.
at the end of the multiplication, you're gonna divide.
The very last thing you do is divide by 12.
Yeah, multiply all 3 of these and then divide it by 12.
333.
3, 9.96 what?
333.
Okay, so it's to the penny would be 39.96, right?
Oh, not this.
This is our interest, right? Is that a total amount that you're gonna have to pay?
Yep.
No, it's not. It's the interest you have to pay. Don't you have to pay back the money that you borrowed to?
Right.
You have to pay back the principal plus what interest is there came up on it, right? So you have to have the principal, the part you borrowed, and all the interest that accumulated. That's how much you have to pay back on the loan. The total amount due on your loan is the whole thing. If you wait 9 months to pay the whole thing, that's what you're gonna end up paying back. 30, 40 bucks isn't bad for 9 months, huh?
700 total.
Maybe we should do another one of those? Dick? Yeah? Okay. Let's do another total amount due. You wanna do another month one, or let's do 18 months. Number 25 has $1,800.
Okay, now if we're doing 18 months, is it still gonna be by 12, or is it
Yeah.
gonna, it's still gonna be by 12?
If it says month, you're still gonna do,
Still only 12
Yeah.
months in a year.
You could say 18 months is a year and a half.
That's what I was
So
thinking.
you could go times 1.5, or you could do times 18 divided by 12. You could times 18 and then divide by 12. You're gonna get the same answer either way you do it, okay?
Oh, okay.
That has to be as a decimal. Okay, so multiply those numbers, or multiply it by 1.5 instead of that. Did you get it yet?
2916.
Rounded? Okay, if that's your interest, what's the total amount due?
1,829.16.
Yeah. 1829.16. $1,829.16. We should have did a different one, but the ones you're doing have like 7 months. It doesn't divide. That's why I'm telling you to divide it now. Because some of the ones I'm doing, you can say, oh, well, that's half, that's 3/4, whatever. But if you always do the months divided by 12, then you won't forget, okay? You want to do a fraction one? 29 and 30 have fractions. 16,850 is your principal. 7.5%, 9 months. Okay, so you have 16,850. At least the principal doesn't change. This is 7.5. Turn that into a decimal, 12075. See that? And then the 9 months, what do we do with that? Times 9, divide by 12. Okay, multiply those numbers, divide by 12. Somebody do it for me?
$9,478, I think.
9,000, I doubt it.
Am I wrong?
947 and 81.
9 what?
947.812.
Okay. Okay, so it's 947.81. Added to the loan, 17,797.81 is the total amount due on the loan. That's if the calculators were all working right. Okay. That's simple interest. You don't want to go compound now, do you?
Yes, we need to go.
Or is it gonna be part of our homework? If it's gonna be part of our
Yes,
homework,
it's
yeah,
gonna
we
be
wanna
part of
do
your
it.
homework. Okay, compound interest is more real life, because if you borrow money for 4 years, you're not gonna just pay 10% times 4. Okay, let's do $500 at 4% interest for 2 years. Okay, doing it the compound way, think about if you have money in the bank. Let's say this was a savings, not a loan, okay? You put $500 in the bank. If you do 500 times 0.04 times 2, what are you going to get there? And that's only simple. It's not going to be what the compound's going to come out to.
Okay, is this still gonna be written with percent, rates, and times?
Yeah,
40.
that would only be 40?
Uh-huh.
Okay. If you just did simple interest, you would only get $40 on your 500. You'd have $540. I'm going to show you what it'll do if you get it compounded every year, okay? You're gonna have your interest for your first year will be principal times the rate, but you're gonna do just 1 year at a time. After a year, they're gonna give you some interest. So 500 times 0.04, is that $20? Okay, so like if you put it in January and in December they gave you $20 interest, now you have $520 in the bank. What do you think you're going to get interest on this next year? Not 500, but 520, right? This is your second year. You're getting interest on 520 at the same rate for a year. Okay, so how much is that going to come out to? Be over 20, but not much. 28? $28. So at the end of 2 years, instead of just getting $40 interest that you would have got if you multiplied simple, you have $548 instead of just $540. This is more lifelike. You're actually going to get interest every year, or pay interest every year if you borrow money. So the first problems, like 2, 4, and 6 that you have to do it like this. Calculate it every year.
Okay. But is it still going to be the same?
This part's the same.
Yeah, it's going to be the multiply,
except
divide by 12?
This part right here
Yeah.
is how many times you do it. How many years you're
But
doing
you
it
still
for.
divide it by 12 each time?
No, we don't have months.
Because 1 year, it's 1
These
year.
are years, you
12
don't need
months.
to divide.
So we don't divide here?
Can't
No,
divide
you
it.
only divide when it's months. If it's months, you divide by 12. Okay, so you have 3 problems you have to do. All 3 of these, none of them are just 2 years. You got 3, 3, and 4. Okay? So you got to do this one 3 times, and 4 times. Okay? Now take a little bit of paper. And then, the next part, this is the good part, okay? On 8, 10, 12, 14, you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it like this that many times, okay? Let's do, if this was the same problem, let's do 500 at 4% for 2 years, and I'm going to show you how to multiply it where you don't have to figure it out and add it, and figure it out and add it. Okay? What you do is you still have your principal here. The rate part, you add 100% to it. And this is how many times, the number of times you multiply the rate. Okay? Maybe it'd be easier just to see it in numbers instead of a bunch of words. Okay, the principal, 100 plus 4 is 104, 104%. You still need that as a decimal. So it's 1.04, right? How many times should we put this? 2 times. Okay, somebody do on a calculator, 500 times 1.04 times 1.04. Before you have it punched out, I'm going to tell you what the answer is going to be. Okay,
I've got a question.
40.8.
you got 540.8?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was this $20.80 or was it $28?
20.
Oh, this was 20.80?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we messed up on that one. I'm sorry. But it's gonna be the same answer as that.
Oh, I see, you're multiplying it twice by the 104.
Yeah. Okay, so I didn't get to play magic on you. Sorry.
So it wasn't fun after all.
No, it wasn't so fun.
Oh, that was my
I like stupid questions until they make me look stupid. Okay, let's try number 7. It's in the back. You guys can even check it. 1,000 at 5% for 2 years. Okay, 5%, we're going to turn that to 105, right? What is that as a decimal? 1.05. How many times? 2 times.
Can we just put times 2 there, or?
Nope, times 2 won't work. Multiplied by 1.05 is not the same as multiplying by 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so multiply this times this times this. Nobody's doing it for me.
Okay.
Somebody else could check in the back of the book.
1,102.
110250.
Yeah.
Everybody get that? You wanna know why this works?
Why?
Because when you multiply this times 5%, that gives you the interest. Doing the 100% adds it back onto it. See this interest we got here? It adds it back to the 500. This is 4% of it. And if you did 104%, you would have got the 520. So that's why it works, is you're adding that 100% back onto the interest every time. And your new, this would be like the answer after you multiplied it one time. If you do 500 times 1.04, you're going to get 520. When you multiply that times 1.04, it's adding the 100% of 520 plus the 4% of 2080, and it'll give that to you. That's why it works. It's adding that back on for you every time, adding the 100% back in to the interest. But you don't have to know why it works. You just have to know how to do it. Okay?
Amen.
Let's one more of those before we go on. Think or no? How about if I just show you how to set it up and we don't worry about multiplying it?
What?
Okay, let's do number 11. Says there are 1180 is your dollars at 7% for 8 years. Okay? Instead of multiplying it out, let's just write down what all we would put on a calculator. The principal, 7%, we're adding 100, so we got 107%. What's the decimal of that?
1.07.
1.07. How many times are we going to, wait,
8.
8.
Why is that gonna change?
This is 3, 4, 5. This is still multiplied from up here, right? These are all being multiplied 8 times. That's why I'm letting you use a calculator.
Isn't there a simpler way to do this?
This is the simpler way.
Is there really?
Unless you have a table, yeah. Okay, the next problems you have to do, it says to look at the table on page 459. I bet you bankers have tables, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, see this
Can you go
table?
back for a second?
Sure. What
Why
part?
did 7% change to 1.7%?
It changed to 107 because we added 100%. Because we are doing compound. Compound interest, we're adding 100% to it. All of these.
Compound interest, you add 100%.
Compound, we add 100. Okay, there is an easier way. There's a table. This is your percents, and this is how many years.
What page is that?
Page 459. You'll be using it because it tells you on your homework to go to it. Okay? It says, oh God, right here, use the table on page 459 to find the compound amount and the interest. Interest is compounded annually. Round to the nearest cent. We've already been doing that, right? Okay. You know what this does? It keeps us from having to do it this many times. If you actually multiplied these numbers, if you multiplied 1.07 8 times, it's going to give you 8 years at 7%. That's not even on the table. 7's not one of them that's on there. Okay, let's multiply, let's do,
Connie,
yes,
if we were to, could you bring your paper up a little bit so we can see it?
this one?
Yeah, that one.
Mhm.
If we were writing it out, wouldn't it be easier to write it out 107 times 8 instead of like
No.
that?
No, you can't.
Why?
Timesing it by 8 is not the same as multiplying it by 1.07.
Oh, that's
8
right. Okay,
times.
yeah, never mind. I get you.
You can do
Yeah.
one.
All right.
It's almost like doing exponents and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, it would actually, if you wanted to write it shorter and just multiply it on your calculator that many times, you could put 1.07 to the 8th power. That's how many times you would multiply it. You could write it like this and then do it on the calculator, and then you could have it on, write out the answer.
Well, this is a
okay?
lot more fun just to write it out, huh?
Yeah.
It's way more fun.
So when you have it, you have some that are timed 7 times, like 4 years, 7 years. You could put that as an exponent if you want, as long as you know to do it that many times. And don't multiply it by that, okay?
Just count. Times 9 times instead of 8
Now,
times.
you can't say times 9, or, as long as you do it 8 times on that part. On the next part, you get to use this table, and you only have to multiply once. Let's do a compound, one of the ones that are on here, 5% is on here. Let's do a simple problem. I'm just making up a problem. $12,000, that's our principal. 5%, let's say how many years? 9?
9.
10? It don't matter.
Okay.
Let's just do a few, so let's do 6 years so it doesn't take as long to multiply it, okay? Let's just make it easier on the calculator people. Okay,
Is this going to
remember?
be compounded or not?
Yes, all of 6.8 is compound. Remember 5% is 105%, right? So it's 1.05. We can put the 6 as an exponent, or we can write it 6 times. Somebody multiply that out for me. Do all of those, do it 6 times. 4, 5, 6. Somebody get that number. A couple of you do it so we can make sure it's the right answer.
6.3.
Come on. What do you mean 6 point? No, you just did that part?
Yeah.
No. You're not adding them. You're multiplying this times this times this times this times this times this. Multiply all those. Don't do the 12,000 part yet. Just multiply that part. Want two people to give me the same answer. 1.0.
1.340095.
1.3401.
Yeah.
That?
1.3401, yeah.
Okay, so if you multiplied that times 12,000, that's what you would have after 6 years. Okay? Look at our table. 5%, 6 years. Let me zoom in on that. %, for 6 years, 1.3401. It already multiplied all of those. This multiplied 1.05 one time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, like that for you. So all you have to do is look at the table, the percent, and the years, and multiply that number 1 time, instead of having to do it 6 times. So there is an easier way, but somebody had to create that table. Which is smarter than everybody having to do it a million times themselves, right? Okay, let's use that table. Look at one of the problems here. Number 17 says $8,000 at 6% for 10 years. So you know you're going to do $8,000. Now find 6% for 10 years. You only have to use that one number from the table. I can't even see what we're doing. I have it too blown up.
Are we doing compound?
Number 17, right there. 8,000, 6. Yes, this whole section is compound.
So it's going to be
8,000?
106.
Right. No, it's not. You're not going to be doing that. You're going to take it off the table. You don't have to do it that many times. You're looking at 6% for 10 years. Right there, right?
Yeah.
1.7908. We blow that one up. Okay. 10 years, right there. Everybody see that? 1.7908. So 1.7908, multiply that, and that's your answer. Okay, that gives you what? The total amount at the end of the year, doesn't it? That added stuff in every time? Okay, let's look what it asks you to find here. Use the table to find the compound amount. The compound amount is what you get when you multiply those numbers. Okay? That's the total amount that's going to be in your savings account or that you owe, right? That you've paid. Okay. It says also find the interest. Somebody multiply that for me. That times that.
1,400.
14,264.
14,
326.
326,
40.
40. Okay. If that was the total amount, how much of that is interest?
Subtract 8,000.
Right. You got to take off what was the original amount. Take 8,000 off that. This is your compound amount. This was your principal. So that will give you the interest.
6,326.40.
6,326.40. That's the interest. So this, you need two answers. You need the compound amount and you need the interest. Okay? Because it tells you to find two things here. Yeah. Compound amount and interest. Okay? So I'll let you go ahead and start working on your homework. There's a lot of different types of ways to do things, so you probably have to look back at your notes.